Alright, looks like things are going. Okay, yeah, things are going. Good. Pause that there. I'm not actually streaming it here, are we? Or we are. Make sure I pause it here too, so we don't take up too much bandwidth. That's what was kind of killing YouTube the other night, was the fact that I had Twitch streaming. So, hey everybody, this is GeoWill from Productions². And it is kind of covering it though, isn't it? Let me see. OBS. No, it should be fine. That stuff's on the bottom, so it should cover it. Yeah, it looks like it's fine. So last night we got our crap up to the moon, and we got the rovers turned over somehow, and we got them docked with the base, and against every odd imaginable in this game, I managed to get to 14.2 kilometers to our base location. So let me talk about some observations I've noticed. First of all, let's get the right angle that you can see it. These wheels don't even touch the goddamn ground. None of these four wheels on the inside touch the ground because they're too high when they're attached to the base. So I'm actually driving a four-wheel rover that has 8 wheels, and the extra wheels, all they are doing is when we get to a spot that's a little bit hilly in certain ways, these wheels catch those hills and tilt you one way or the other and throw you around. So that's part of the reason why we were bouncing around so much last night. The other thing is that what was the other thing that I figured out? I can't remember right now. It had something to do with oh yeah, the same thing, because the wheels are off the ground, we don't have as much traction, so we can't slow down or speed up as much. So it takes longer to do that. So I've only crashed once since starting. I've almost crashed about probably 12.5 times. It's been a very, very nerve-wracking journey getting over to this point. So we're going to try and go to our base from here. What I've been doing is about every 2.5 to 5 kilometers, or whenever I feel it's necessary, like if I just got through really hard terrain, I don't want to go back through it, I'll do a save, and if I can, or find a place where I can slow down enough to save. You have to be going at least, at most 0.3 meters a second to save. If you're going over that, it's actually probably closer to 0.35 meters a second, because if you go just under 4, if you just go from 4 down to 0.4 to 0.3, it won't let you save until you wait a little bit longer. So it's probably 0.35 meters a second. You just can't see the extra trailing decimals out here, which is good. So let's go ahead and turn the brakes off. I've actually gotten kind of used to piloting this thing. Oh, the other thing. So one of the other reasons we were tilting over so much is that when we were going off the ground at a high rate of speed, the craft, this thing was kind of turning a little bit, and when we hit the ground, our movement direction was still the same, so we were basically hitting it sideways. That was spinning the back out and then tilting us over. So what you can actually do is when you're in the air, you can actually move this around with a SAS like you would a vessel that's in the air. So you can adjust it a little bit and it'll land the way you want to. Basically, you always want to land, if you're up in the air, even a little bit, you want to land in the direction that you're moving. Or at least the direction that your momentum is carrying you. So like right now, if I were to go up and then land a little bit off to the left to right, just a little bit, it would tilt around and then flip us over. So we want to make sure that you are always pointing in the direction that your rover is moving when you got crap like this on it. The fastest I've actually been able to drive this thing and be able to still keep control of it is 37 meters a second. After about there, it started getting a little bit hairy. We kept hitting things like the small hills that would normally bounce off of. At that speed, we're starting to bounce off of and kind of careening around. So I had to slow down from there. But yeah, 37 meters a second is pretty good. Now, if we take a look here, there are some craters, but what we're going to do is we're going to come over this way, and we're going to come around between these two craters and over to where our base is at. So we're actually going to start turning down this way a little bit so we can do that. So I don't want to go through any of those craters. Going through craters with this thing is insane, because especially if it's a really steep crater, because when you start going down those hills, you can't stop this thing. Once it gets to a certain incline, this thing will just go, even with the emergency brake on, with the actual brakes going too. A lot of the time you can turn on these and this, and you can slow yourself down really fast. But on those really steep inclines, you're basically just like maybe slowing down your acceleration. I had that happen on one of the steeper craters back over there, back closer to where we started at from last night. And I got going to 28 meters a second before I managed to actually get to a point where I could start slowing down. And it was really messed up because I kept on kind of wanted to turn a certain direction because of the hill and the way that it was trying to be pulled down. Now, when you start seeing this thing get pulled down, or one way or the other, a lot, just hit the opposite direction SAS key a couple of times, and it'll keep it straightened out. Don't hold it down, just tap it like a bunch of times. So if you overcorrect, it's just as bad as not doing anything at all. So like right here, what you can also do is, like, so basically once you're in the air, it's the can't talk tonight. So having problems during the Corona Cross recording too. It's basically like you're in a vessel in space. The gimbals all move around the way they do then. So instead of going forward, you're tilting backward, which I guess is kind of the same thing. That's kind of how this works, the driving works, now that I've gone through all this driving. You're not necessarily driving forward. What you're doing is your wheels are spinning at a certain rate of speed constantly. And when you push backward or forward, you are tilting the vehicle back onto those wheels, and the wheels are pushing you forward. It's not so much that you're, imparting a little bit closer so I can see where direction we're moving here. Let me see. Whoa. We need to slow down. And I'm speeding up. Damn it. Wrong key. So I'm gonna try doing something here. We're in the crater. Okay, we gotta be careful. So we want to try and land on the hill, kind of going in this sort of direction here. Okay, we tilted. We tilted over. Damn it. So we'll just start back from where we were. I wasn't paying attention to where that crater was at. Number 21, I think. All these new quick saves are ones that I've done just now. It took me about an hour and 10 minutes to get from where we were to where we started at here tonight on the stream. Pretty freaking long time. So that was the second crash tonight. Okay, let's try this again. Oh, I turned the forgot to turn the sound off. I was like, oh, there's no sound. Turned it off because I was listening to Doctor Who music, which actually works pretty well when you're clawing your way across the surface of the moon. Alright, so we want to be aiming kind of over here. So let's actually go ahead and make that, let's go ahead and make that adjustment now. So basically going to be aiming right about in here. So I don't forget to do it again. You can go into craters and whatnot, it's just, that was not a very good spot to enter it, and we were going way too fast. You have to be, at maximum, you want to be going 12 meters a second over the edge of a crater. If you go any faster than that, you have a huge risk of doing what happened. because you're going to land sideways on a hill, and then you have to try and correct all the bouncing that'll happen and the spin and whatnot. It's doable, but it's insanely hard. I did it once, and it was not fun. You kind of see how it wants to turn down this way. You just need to like kind of readjust and force it up this way. It wants to turn down that way because that's the way the ground is tilted. Once you get up to a certain speed, it just wants to follow where the ground is. Tilt where the incline is if it's steep enough. It's like a... Let's see, we need to make another little bit. I'm going to go a little bit more over this way. It's a really thin piece of land there. Didn't realize how thin that area was. It's like the promised land, though. If we get to that spot, we can get over to where our base site is. And I'm going to try like hell to not have to drive all this distance again, because spending an hour to get each section of the base to the base, no. So I'm going to be trying to do more precise landings with the sky crane. Which we still have to update, and we have to update the rovers too. Well, we have updated the rovers, we just have to update the ones that are attached to the sky crane. Let's take another look here. Okay, good. We're not anywhere near that crater this time. I just want to make sure I don't overshoot into this crater, because we have to kind of start coming around this way. So I probably want to start slowing down so we can do that. Slowing down can also be risky if you're going above a certain speed, especially downhill. Because you tilt like that, and then you have to kind of try and readjust to correct all the messed up momentum you end up giving yourself. Oh, we're within 10 kilometers now. That's good. Let's take a look at where we're... Actually, we're heading pretty much straight for where we want to go. This hill will help slow us down quite a bit. Oh, don't you dare. It's wanting to spin. So I had the emergency brake on. Okay, let's turn that off now. We're going slow enough we can safely crest this hill. I guess there isn't really much of a crest to it, but I wasn't entirely sure. Still, it's better to err on the side of caution going up a hill. Wow, that thing wanted to like just go all over the place to the left side there. I think the middle wheels are jumping us around. If we had all four wheels flat on the ground, that wouldn't be really so much of an issue, I don't think. Good, we're like right down the middle of this street here. The promised line between two hellscapes of craters. Especially this one. Look, that hill right there, that's impassable. If you get down in there, you have to try and find your way back out, and then come back around anyway. Well, it's impassable for all this that we have now. We only had one rover. Maybe you can get through that. Got two rovers plus this base core. Nah, you're not getting through. Not getting up that hill. And going up that steep a hill sideways, doing the whole goat thing, probably wouldn't end well either. That's steep enough that you just tumble right over with this thing on your on a rovers like this. All right, 7 kilometers. Pretty much smooth sailing from here. Actually, you know what? Let me try. Let's try and stop. I want to do a save real quick. We're close. We've come far enough that I want to do one. It's not necessarily Well, we started at Fort Naya. We've actually gone like 7 kilometers plus, actually. So we're actually way over where I would normally stop and save. Hopefully we can stop here before we get too far over this way. Once you get this kind of a thing, it'll start sliding down a lot. Okay, we can save now. Alright, save, quick save 23. Alright, let's go. So now if we crash, we are at 6.4 km instead of 17. I will say this, unless you're really used to working in low gravity, I mean, I can't imagine what this thing would do on Minimus. This thing would be all over the place in that low gravity. So here's what we're going to do. Once we get the base section over there, we're kind of going up to a little, it's actually a little bit steeper than I thought it was. Not a crater, but still we're on the side of a pretty steep hill. Once we get over here, we'll park our vehicle here. We'll first of all, we'll find a place to stick the core. We're not going to stick it right near the flag. I want to put it somewhere where it's a little more central to that entire area, so we have enough room to maneuver around it without crashing into things when we're coming down, bringing down new base sections. So what we're going to do is, once we get this thing settled in, we're going to essentially we're going to terminate these rovers, and we're going to do a few adjustments to them. We're going to take out the probe core. I think that's causing some of the issues with the whole, the wheels being all jacked up some of the time, because you're controlling it from the probe core unless you're telling it to control it from the Kerbal. And I think that might be part of the problem, hopefully. We're also going to then put the proper docking ports on the side here. The Clampetron Juniors instead of the Clampetrons. And then after that, we're going to attach the updated rovers. We're going to do those changes to the updated one that we were testing with on Kerbal the other day. We'll attach those rovers properly to the Sky Crane version that has that stuff on it. And then we're going to see if we have a ScanSat satellite that does biomes. And if we do, then we're going to knock the one over Kerbal out of orbit. Try and do a rendezvous with it and knock it out of orbit. And then we'll send up a ScanSat over to here to the moon to do that, as well as maybe 1 or 2 more network relay satellites around the moon here. After all that's done, if it's still before 11, that's where we're going to stop streaming. Then we'll see about maybe designing a couple of support cores, support base modules, and bringing them up. I don't know. Yeah, we need to take a new Sky Crane up as well. I think we destroyed the one we had docked before, so that can be the one we bring the rovers over in. And we'll design a new refueler that will have more fuel than's necessary. That way we can just leave it docked on one of the side ports on the station and refuel stuff from there. So we'll make sure we have a full fuel tank, and we can make sure that all the tanks on the Sky Crane are full, so we don't have that whole wobbling issue. Alright, we are now 1.6 kilometers. Wasn't even paying any attention to that. Any surprises? Nope. Alright. Well, this isn't quite as flat as I thought it would be around in here. We'll need to go search for a little bit flatter of an area. But hey, we made it. I will make sure we save before we do that, because who knows what'll happen. Maybe it'll work, I don't know, we'll see. I mean, theoretically, as long as you have the base segments oriented the same way. So, like for example, if if the legs are set up on the same lines with each other between two core sections, you should be able to dock them together. We're also going to need to create some sort of connector piece that will be used to connect the cores together, so we don't have to try and connect them directly. Alright, there's our... Actually, that is pretty flat there, isn't it? Up here a bit. Alright, let's go ahead and... Yeah, this up here looks pretty good. So let's go ahead and throw on the emergency brake. We'll start slowing down. We're going to put it down right in here somewhere. First, I want to save. Just in case this thing flips out all over the place, I'm going to put the legs back down. Alright. Okay, awesome. Wrong one. Alright, let's move this over to here. Yeah, right about here would probably be good. It's pretty flat. Put the brakes back on. Alright, so what I want to do is I want to first go ahead and extend the legs. Crap. Invert. Invert. There we go. So, rover 1's disconnected. Alright, Jeb, let's go. Rover 2's calling her name. Oh my god, it did flip out. These are set to auto though, what the hell? Okay, let me go. KSP. Interesting. Let's see. Alright, let's go ahead and load up 20 whatever. So what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and... I think it's 24 because there's no 25. So before I put these down, let's go ahead and adjust these. So let's just move this away a little bit here, re-break. I just want to see if we put this on the ground first, then raise them. They'll probably do the same thing actually, and we'll see. Don't like that friggin' bouncing. Damn. So we need to put the spring strength up, I think. And this is why you create saves before you do this kind of stuff. So you can just keep reloading it a billion times so you find the right combination of absurdity that works. Okay, so all the way up, and we'll set spring strength to 0.75 this time. Okay. So I'm going to undock it this time, and then I'm actually going to... Oh, wow. Okay, well that works too. I want to make sure that the... They're far enough away that the landing port isn't going to... Docking port's not going to be attracting. There we go. That worked. All right. Jesus. I'm gonna write that down. So that seems to be a good set of settings there. Good struts. Ah, come on, paper. Stop being an annoyance. Pen. So. Spring strength 7.5, dampener strength max. Okay, we're on the moon. Successfully set down our base component. Can I switch to the rover from here? I believe so, yes. Alright, I gotta stick this over near the other messed up one. Then I'll put Jeb back in the base core. I'm definitely going to save right now, just in case when we get up here we cause some sort of craziness to happen. It has happened before, and you've seen it happen before live on this on these streams. At that time when I think Jeb clipped through the leg and made it go jump up in the air. Also probably a good point to save anyway. A major milestone. There's the port, the docking, or the crew hatch here. There's also one down here on the hitchhiker. I'm going to put them up in the pilot module, command module. Alright, up you go. Oh. Well, at least it didn't knock it all over the place. Alright, Jeb is back in the pilot seat. So let's go back to the tracking station and we'll get rid of these rovers. It's godforsaken rovers. And I guess I can't rename it unless I'm flying it, which is fine. Okay, so let's go ahead and go back to the VAB. And so first thing we want to do is we want to open our sky crane. Not sure if that's the one with the rovers or not. I don't think there are rovers on this one. No, this is just this is the roverless sky crane. That really gets in the way on this one. So sky crane 2. First thing we're gonna do is say hasta la vista to those, all that stuff. And let's go to our sub-assembly. No, these are the messed up rovers, aren't they? Because the wheels are messed up. Or it is the right rover, but when we drop it into the oh yeah, the wheels are messed up. That is weird. Maybe I didn't save the changes that I made to the sub-assembly, but I did maybe to the rover itself. Let's go to this the SPH. Oh wow, we got our rocket in the SPH now. No, yeah, the wheels are fracked up. What the hell? That is insane. So I'm gonna have to fix these damn wheels every time, huh? Alright, that's fine. Oh, that's right. That's the root part. Need to reroute this. You can't use the chair, huh? Hell, it didn't reroute. Oh, it had to be the guidance unit. Okay, let's go and pull that off. And pull this off. We should be able to use that, though. Maybe I just wasn't selecting it properly. Oh yeah, it won't let me use the chair. Oh well, we got that off there now. So we need to reroute it again. Okay, now we need to fix these wheels. Actually, I think the further apart they are, the better. Let's try not to put these too far into the fuselage, because that would get a wider wheelbase, and it'll help, or a wider turning radius, and that'll help stabilize this a bit more in lower gravity. I'd also like to rotate this so it's facing the frickin' direction of the root piece, so we don't have that whole backwards, forwards crap going on again. Let me turn on angle snapping. Alright, so that's facing the right direction now. So now to figure out how to get these aligned properly. Well, I guess we could use angle snapping again to do the movement. So basically they should be just outside of the fuselage. I'm going to turn off angle snapping. So something kind of like that. So maybe the way we can do this is through a strut piece. Maybe if we connect this to the middle of the tire here, as close as we can. That thing's in the way. And it's still in the friggin' way. Okay, go over there. I don't know why I'm locked onto this piece for. Guess what I was thinking is we connect it to the center of here somehow. And if we bring it straight across to the same point on this, you can see how straight it is. But it's not foolproof. As you can see, we've attached it incorrectly both times. At least I think so. Yeah, it's not going to work so well. I mean, we use the movement snapping when we're moving this up and down, and I can kind of see how it's not even. So I'm not sure why. Movement snapping should have, or the angle snapping should have moved it to the same location. And again, there's no guarantee that the way that we have this hooked up, the strut piece hooked up, is correct either. But it kind of looks like it's in the same spot. At least the height is, sort of. Not really sure what that means. Just looking down the exact side of it. Maybe this is not centered this way. Where's the docking port? So now I know it's perfectly centered. Somehow I got the camera stuck on that side part. Crap. Let me see. That's not gonna, can't bring up the settings from here. I'm looking for is like controls. Let's see, VAB. Hold down middle mouse button wheel while panning. Well, we're technically in the spaceplane hangar, but still. What did I press? Was it? Oh, it wasn't any of those. Definitely wasn't that. Crap. Maybe we can, let's see, thrust aerodynamics overlay. So to me, when I'm looking at this, when I'm lining this up and looking at it, this is over a bit. So to me, that means that this is not aligned this way. Everything else looks kind of aligned. Maybe it is aligned, and it's just the camera perspective is screwing it up. Yeah, maybe it's fine. Next thing we'll have to do is actually make sure it's actually level again with the let's get rid of these. Alright. Alright, so save that. Oh wait, we need the Clampatron Junior. Alright, that should be good. Alright, now save it. And then I'll create the sub-assembly with it. First we need to reroute it though. Crap. Let's see. Has to be on this side port, so. Alright, let's go back over to the VAB here. Really quick, let me throw in a and we also, let's just make sure we do this now. Well, I'd have to do it on the sub-assembly, wouldn't I? Crap. Alright, that's fine. So I just want to drop this down onto the ground, or as close as I can get it as possible. Then I'm going to bring over the transfer over. So we kind of get an idea of where the wheels need to be here. Now the thing is that this isn't going to be like this. It will be on the ground a bit. But still, maybe we need to adjust these wheels a little bit. And I really don't want to be doing another test with these things, so that'll take forever. Well, we may have to, just to see if this works or not. Actually, here's what we could do. Let's launch it like this and see what happens. Then we can just drop the rover off the side of it and try and reconnect it. That almost looks perfect. What happens when I undock it? Well, I need to get Valentina on the... Okay. So, control from here. Where is... Oh. Let me go to the tracking center. Station, whatever. Select the rover. I just want to see how it looks compared to the port. The main problem is that on Kerbal, the thing's going to be lower than on the moon. Because the gravity will be pulling the springs in more. So it's going to be very annoying. Alright, I think I have control over the rover now. Oh, 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 no, don't you dare. Okay, that didn't quite work. It worked until it didn't work. I keep forgetting it's like no ramp on that side. It is just a straight off drop. Alright, whatever. Okay, let's try this again. This time without so much rover flipping over because we drove over the edge of the friggin' platform-ishness. Interesting, I didn't say undock though. Alright, Valentina, I think we can do this again without screwing up this time. Somehow surprised the helmet didn't crack. Then again, we're on Kerbal, so it wouldn't really matter. Board. Control from here. Okay. Then go to tracking center. Keep saying center station. It's the space center. Tracking station. And we want to go to base rover. And this time we want to go the opposite direction. Once I figure out which direction that is. Oh man, it reconnected, didn't it? So how come I'm taking over control of this again instead of that? I said maybe they reconnected before. I don't know. It is possible they were connected before I switched over to the tracking station. So that's test-based rover, which is the command section, and this should be the rover. Unless KSP has totally crapped itself and assigned the wrong icons, which is possible. Okay, so I just want to basically flip this around. Okay, not flip. Flip is a bad word. I'm going to turn it around. And I want to align this docking port with that one. And see what the height looks like. It actually looks pretty spot on, actually. I mean, it's going to be a bit higher on the moon, but that bit a bit higher is about where it's at. Let's see if I actually get them aligned this way, though. Yeah, they don't connect too easily here, but they do connect. Good. I think these rovers are going to be a lot better. They aren't going to be remote controllable, but we got Kerbals on the moon now, so that's not a problem. Alright, let's go and recover this thing. I think these are good to go, so we're going to go ahead and attach them to the sky crane. Which we're going to maybe try and do a few other updates too as well. It'd be nice to have some wing fins or something on the top section. It really only matters for atmosphere, but at the same time, I'm hoping that somehow it'll help keep it steady in orbit. Not orbit, well, when we're doing stuff on the moon if the tanks get too low or something. It'll look cool too, so hey. There's that. Alright, so I'm going to go to Sky Crane 2. And I'm going to load it. And we want to pull these guys back off. Along with those docking ports. So I want to reconnect those. So first thing we got to do is we got to put in Clampatron Juniors, because those are the actual Clampatrons proper. So, actually first let's scale these down. And then I want to move them a little bit. Alright, now I want to detach them, and I want to reattach them using the non-surface attachment. Actually, that won't work on this, will it? Because there's no attachment point. You have to have a node point in order for that to work. So we can do a non-surface attachment to this, but not from this to that, because there is no... These are meant to create node points where there aren't any. Now this, we can do that with. That just helps keep things connected correctly and whatnot. So I want to move this out. Oh hell. Pull this off again. Okay. Those look good now. Let's go ahead and bring in the rover subassembly. The wheels are correctly aligned now. Okay, now we want to make sure these are perfect 90 degree. So we'll switch to the rotation tool. Alright, those are perfectly 90 degrees now. So they'll be mostly, almost assuredly parallel with the ground. Oh, I didn't save those changes to the subassembly, did I? Crap, for the new rovers. All we did was pull these down 1 unit of angle snapping, so... You know, just remove that wheel, and I have no clue where it went to. And remove that wheel over there, too. Enjoy. Okay. Pull this off. Let's go update the subassembly real quick. So save this. Then open the test. Let's open the test one again. Test-based rover. We're just gonna basically so first of all, I want to reroute this because I don't want this to be the, well, that's not what I want. So I don't want this to be the route anymore. I want this to be the route. That didn't work, so I didn't click on it right. There we go. The reason for that is I want to pull the this section off. Now we have our rover, which has been modified to fit more appropriately. So now I'm going to take another, let's just pull this one off. It's not going to let me, is it? Alright, let's pull another clampatron out of here. Then we'll reroute this again. Alright. Now, subassembly. Okay, so I want to attach these rovers on now, again. Same method as before. And just as before, I want to make sure they are properly aligned to .90 degrees on every axis. Alright. Wheels have been modified. Got our Clampatron Juniors on both sides there. Command chair has been turned around. Okay, good. These are good. Alright, now we got to redo all of our strutting on these. It'd be interesting to see stronger space tape. Like, for example, space tape where that would be enough to like hold everything stable. Well, this, something like a few here and a few on the other side would make everything completely stable. Let's try using a little less this time, actually. Let's actually try that. I still want to make sure we're covering all the bases here, but I'll try and keep it mild compared to what I did last time. Last time might have been a bit excessive. Yeah, it doesn't cost much, strutting doesn't, but at the same time, the less parts you have on your ship, the less things can just break. Alright, then we need to put no, I did not connect it there. Oh, there we go. Ah, come on. Zoom out. There we go. I think that's good. That's probably more than enough. Alright, so I know this thing will be able to get to the moon because I've flown it up there before. Oh, there's no docking port on the top. Well, let's correct that issue. First of all, I'm gonna scale this down. Or do I? Ah, maybe not. I do want to, however, make sure it's centered. I don't think it is. Yeah, it wasn't. It was off a little bit. Angle snapping is good for centering stuff that doesn't want to attach correctly the first time. Now we're going to go to Leptron Jr. and take off that. Oh, jeez. Actually, let's fix that. That should have been a non-surface attachment. Actually, I'll switch to the other mode real quick for this one. Okay, that looks good. We'll need to put the those other RCS propellant tanks back in. I think everything else looks fine. And we are missing a few things that we added onto the Sky Crane 3 that we don't have on this one. So we'll make sure we put those in. For one, the lights on the bottom section here. Actually, it's underneath utility, isn't it? Aquatic sample collector. Or not. Utility. That's where it is. I said utility, I didn't go to utility. 4 should do. So I'm going to put them as close to the bottom here as possible. And I also want to do the same thing up here. And then was it these guys? I guess it was these guys. Oh yeah, definitely those guys. But I had a bunch more of them on here, I guess. Ah, great, now the VAB's gonna lag. So usually when the VAB causes KSP to hang, it usually is gone for good. It's usually just a full-on crash. I'll wait a little bit longer and see if it responds or not. So where did I save at? I think it was after I attached these. Still, it's quite a bit of stuff to redo. Damn you, KSP, why did you crash? So let me start that up again. And while we're waiting for this thing to load, it's going to take about 5 minutes. About 4.5, 5 minutes is what it usually takes. So I did do a bunch of recording for Chrono Cross this morning and tonight. I think it was probably a total about 3 hours, actually. What I was doing was getting a bunch of shiny materials. So, for those of you who don't know what Chrono Cross is, it's a direct sequel to Chrono Trigger. It's an RPG game. And in it, you don't necessarily buy... I mean, you can buy your weapon. Well, no, you don't. Yeah, you don't buy your weaponry. You have to craft it using materials you get from enemies and things like that. And one of the more powerful types of enemies of weapons and other equipment in the game are called spectral equipment. It's basically analogous to the rainbow equipment from Chrono Trigger, where you get the rainbow shell as part of the that last optional quest at the very end of the game, and you can make equipment from it. That's kind of what this is. You find a bunch of rainbow shells throughout the game in Chrono Cross, and then along with those and shiny material, which you can only get from defeating enemies with a summon element. There are techs still, but now magic. There's no more magic, or not magic in the same way that it was in Chrono Trigger. They're now elements, and you basically can equip them onto anybody, so anybody can learn any type of magic. certain elements of magic are more powerful than certain innates. Innates are the type of magic a person is more predisposed to. Like, for example, Chrono and Chrono Trigger would have been a lightning innate, for example, if we're going to use the same terminology. And so there's 6 different flavors of magic. You have blue, red. So blue is water, red is fire, green is I guess air. Yellow is more earth related, and then you have white, which is both light and mostly healing. And then you have black, which is the opposite. It's mostly status effects and heavy damage, kind of damage and status effect kind of related. A lot of the instant kill stuff is in the black innate element list. But anyway, so you have to get these summons and use them, which is not easy because there's a system in Chrono Cross called the effect field. And there's 3 different sections to it, and the sections change color depending on the last element used. In order to summon a creature, to use a summon element, you have to have the field be entirely one color of that element, and you have to have a character that can equip a level 8 summon element or a level 7 summon element, depending on what the element is, of that color, and they have to be the innate of that color too. So it's not easy. There are only a few places where you have enemies that don't, that kind of won't screw you over, that use only one type of element. There are some, though, that will use any element that you use against them. Actually, I think there's only one, and they're called couscouses. Now, it's farming them to get all the shiny materials. So the materials you get when you defeat an enemy with a summon depends on the summon you use. So each summon will give you a different type of material. You need one of every type of material plus a rainbow shell to make a spectral equipment. So I was doing that. I got enough to make 9 weapons or a couple weapons and some armor or something. Alright, so before everything went to hell, we were in the VAB. It only took me about that 3 hours to get that much, though. So it isn't that hard at all. I thought it'd be a lot harder. Let's go ahead and see exactly where we saved at. Hopefully the rovers are on there. Maybe they're not. Yes, they are. Okay, good. So we just have to redo everything else. All the strutting and all that other stuff. Okay, let's actually put the fuel tanks on first then. I think it was getting really laggy at the end there. I think we were... I don't know what was happening. Something was going on. But let's save the strutting for last. This time. Fuel engines. No, fuel tanks. These guys. So I'm just going to put a bunch of these on because we really do need it. I think I know in another, I think that should be enough. I don't think we need too much more than that, really. Alright, so then the lights, I know on the version 3 of this, we had an actual section in this upper part that was like a monopropellant tank, but we're not going to do that this time. Make it really a pain to refuel these, but it is what it is. There you are. Okay, let's also do the, actually, let's do the one higher. Oh, those are bigger than I thought they were. Holy crap. So are those. Well, yeah, yeah. What about this tail fin? Oh wow, it's even worse. I mean, those are like kind of just like massive. Okay, we'll use the smaller ones. Maybe we'll do 2 of them. One at the top, one at the bottom. Won't be so much weight, but it'll be a little bit extra stability too on the way up. And hopefully stability in flight, but I don't think those will do much in orbit. Okay, what else do we need to add to this before I start doing the strutting again? Let me save it. Oh, the port up here, that's right. I almost forgot. Let's pull this off for a second, because I want to make sure we're doing the right, well, I kind of had it more centered than that, then I screwed it up. Now we'll fix it. Okay, and then we gotta go to the coupling and clampetron. And then do the same thing, make sure it's centered. Okay. Now let's save it. So it's all done but for the strutting. Alrighty then, so let's get our struts on. Let's try and keep it out of the exhaust of the RCS, even though I don't think it's like super heated or something. Still, probably a good idea not to put any undue stress on them. Okay. No, I was right, yeah. I was right the first time. Those need to go up a little bit higher. It's the ones on the edge by the AGU that need to go to the fuel tanks over there. Crap. I had it on single attach. I'll have to do most of that on the other side. That's fine, I guess. Ah, come on. There we go. Okay. That one didn't attach on that side. That's interesting. Why did it not attach over here? Why you no attach? Tell me. Okay, that should be it. The TWRs look good. All that's left is to check the staging. Okay, let's fix this. This has been like this for the entire time. We need to fix that. So we drop that off. Then we, well, actually it doesn't matter in this case because the engines aren't right above it. So never mind. That one's fine. Alright, let's have a look. So these four down here, they're all direct feeding into the center, so that's fine. Then we undock those, and that one goes, and we fire off our mainsail. Then we burn through all that fuel, and then we have our top stage here. Now really quick, what I want to do is, I want to pull off, and I hope this doesn't screw anything up. All that stuff we just did, but I'm going to put another reaction wheel underneath this nose cone at the top, just to give us some more control. You can never have enough control. Yeah, everything still looks kind of good. Yeah, no, that's good. Okay. For the most part, I don't think anything shifted. Save that. Okay, let's go ahead and open up our refueler. I'm going to change the design on that. Station refueler load. So with this now, what we want to do is we want to change this clampetron port at the top to a regular instead of a junior. Frigging I-beams at the top of the center, at the top of the valve getting in the way. This rocket's a little bit too tall. Alright, Clampetron Jr., you are out of here. You are out of here. Instead, we want to put on a radial attachment node. And then a clampetron. So we can dock this on the side of the station instead of on the front where the sky crane's going to go. It's been a very sorely needed upgrade here. Then another thing we're going to do is we're going to change, I think, these bottom ones to a 6 configuration instead of a 4. These overkill tanks. First I need to make sure this is centered. Yeah, not quite. So what I'm going to do is we'll just pull the pull those off. Most of it reattached. There's some stuff that didn't. Some of these didn't reattach because it's going to a 4 instead of a 6 now in the upper section. So what we'll do instead is we'll just add another layer over here, and then I'll move these. We'll put them at the same spot, but we'll shift them over a bit. It shouldn't be that big of a deal. The Kerbodyne should be more than enough to handle it. The mainsail stage, though, that's another question. We'll have to see how the mainsail handles it. Let's save it as a new model. That way we don't overwrite what's there already in case we need to change something on that. Or have to go back to it and do something else with it. Okay. I think that's good now. Let me check our... See, is it communications or is it science? I think it's underneath science. Yeah, ScanSat, altimetry. No, I don't think we have any of the other new... oh no, here we go. Yeah, multispectral. We do have a multispectral. Let's see, across several infrared light bands and types of biomes. There we go. Boom. Alright, so we do have a new ScanSat satellite. Oh, we also have one of these. Small... Interesting. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and create a new ScanSat satellite then. Let's go ahead and load up the old one. ScanSat satellite, where are ya? Version 1. So this didn't really have enough fuel in it. I thought it did, but it didn't. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull this off and take this, attach this here. Okay, first we're going to lift the rocket up a bit. And I think we went way overboard on all this stuff too. We don't need all these. In fact, we don't even need this section to be that long. Let me pull this off. We're going to replace this with an Octo 2. Okay, that should be fine. Oh, we have an engine. Oh, yeah, we have the engine section down here. Somewhere. So what I want to do with it, though, is I want to go ahead and asparagus stage this thing. Let me take the wings off. I'm going to go ahead and recopy. I'm going to take the wings off first so we can re-add them. Three should do. I'm not going to do true asparagus staging. We're just going to do the 3-into-1 setup. That'll give us a bit more burn time. Yeah, I built this thing before I had all the other structural bits too. So I didn't have any nose cones on these. Let's also go ahead and fix the fairing. Alright. The deluxe wings on here. And then we need to do fuel lines. And then, of course, strutting. Not sure what happened to the strutting that was already on here. Well, some of it's still there, I guess. Okay. And then staging. Okay. So now we need to change this scan set to the other one. And I think we might be able to use this to knock the other one out of orbit too. If not, we'll create something we can send up to do that. So science, where were you? Multispectral sensor. And then I want to set up all the solar panels on an action group so we can just bring them all out at once. All right. Actually, let's also put the scan set on one as well. All right, I think that should be good. Let's go ahead and save this as V2. Let's try launching this right now. See how it goes up. Hopefully not in flames. Well, technically yes, in flames. Hopefully not in an explosion. Well, again, kind of yes, in an explosion. And an uncontrolled explosion. That fits it better. Alright, so first things first, let's turn on SAS. Let's see what 3/4 throttle does first. And, okay. It does nothing. So I'll have to go, or barely lifting with full thrust on this thing. Full throttle on this thing. So hopefully we get up high enough that the center engine can do its thing. We might need to upgrade to Kerbodyne. Are these mainsails? Yes. We might need to upgrade to a Kerbodyne engine on the bottom. We'll see how the asparagus stage works first. What I'm worried about is that reaction wheel's not big enough. The SAS module. It seems to be holding it though, so maybe I'm just being a little too paranoid. Still got about half the fuel on this particular stage to go. So where are we at? We're already at 30,000 on the apoapsis. Yeah, we're getting pretty good mileage out of these engines. These additional quasi-asparagus staged engines here. So, slow down a tad. We don't need to burn up in the atmosphere, exiting the atmosphere. So you know you're going a little too fast. Still, that's pretty good. We got the main stage still, and we're already up in space. Cool, good. This is definitely a good configuration for this. It's mainly because this section is tiny compared to the rest of it, I think. All right, let's go ahead and angle downward a bit. Maybe -10. Burn full throttle. Try and get the periapsis pushed out. Because then we gotta try and so what we'll do is we'll just get this into an orbit around polar orbit around Kerbal. And then we'll build something else to try and deorbit the other satellite. Alright, we can go to map view now. System view, whatever you want to call it. This is a pretty good one. This flight so far. It's pretty textbook. Oh, we got so much fuel left on that stage. It ain't funny. We can actually go to the moon with this if we wanted to, probably. Alright, first thing we gotta do is we gotta burn out to, well, we gotta, let's, should have looked to see what the requirements are for the height. Let me warp around over to here real quick. So we can burn, the periapsis out. And we gotta wait till we get over, I think it's 80K or something before we can go faster. Actually, we can go a little bit faster. But it won't warp automatically to that speed. Okay, there we go. Let's warp over to there. So I'm going to get this orbit stable before we go looking for this stuff. Oh, whoops. I am on the wrong side of the gimbal. That's interesting, the RCS isn't firing. Oh, because the fairing is still intact. Probably. Yeah. Yep, that was it. Alright, it's pretty close. So, while we're doing that, let me go multispectral, right? That's what I said it was. Scan sats multispectral. So best altitude is 250 km. Yep, that's where we're at. Good. Very good. All right. Why is the game development tag there for? Weird. Just now noticed that. All right, so we're actually in a pretty good spot. What we need to do now is go over to, well, yeah, we need to go to the AP node. And we're definitely not in an intersecting orbit with this thing, this other satellite, which got kind of wonky at the end. We need to go over to here. Let's actually go a little bit before. I need to set up a maneuver for an inclination burn so we can go polar with this. They work best that way because then you can get all the... so if you're going polar, you get you get everything. If you're going equatorially in your orbit like we are now, you're only getting the middle of the planet. Because it's not turning sideways, it's turning around on its polar axis. So, let's set up a maneuver right about there. We'll need to do some adjustments on... Okay, let's actually put it on the let's do it on the periapsis because this is going to take a while to adjust and figure out. Holy crap. Add a maneuver. So at this point, the apoapsis would be 800, and that's too high. And the periapsis would be... So that's about right. We're not intersecting there or there, so that would be good. Okay. Set up on... That's interesting, there is no maneuver node. That is kind of strange. That's an Octo 2. We were using the remote guidance unit before. I think that's why. Well, this is going to be an interesting one then. So we may have to be maneuvering this thing around manually. It's been a long time since I've had to do a maneuver manually. At least follow the maneuver node manually. We'll see how it goes. It shouldn't really move around until we get close to the end of the burn anyway, so as long as we're burning stable, it should be fine. That's interesting. We're actually reversing our orbit, aren't we? No wonder it was taking so long. We should have done a normal one instead. Damn. Oh well. Too late now. I could stop, but then I'd have to kill myself. No. We're already too far into this. We're almost done anyway, so it's not that big a deal. In fact, we're already speeding up again. And it pretty much has stayed on the maneuver node within reason. I'm going to realign a little bit to it. That thing is moving now. That's good enough. It's a little bit off, but what can you do? You don't have access to the maneuver node thing on the gimbal, so... We can maybe try and correct this with a radial burn. Which I can lock onto. Now we still have to do we can get it kind of close, but we still have to do a retrograde burn. Whoa. Now we'll just leave it there, it's fine. We're well within the tolerances, so. And it's coming a little bit close, but it's actually probably quite a good distance there. And we do have kind of a pretty good polar orbit, so I will call it done. Let's go ahead and jettison off that fuel stage. Actually, let's turn retro. I want to make sure we're not going to be anywhere near this section of debris. Alright, so let's get this going. Stick out our panels. Start up the scan set. So this is our map of Kerbal right now. This is the altitude map. We want to switch to biome. And we'll start seeing data populating here now. So if I just skip ahead a bit. Okay, let's skip ahead a lot. If we update this. So we can see some of the southern ice shelf, we can see some of the northern ice shelf, some of the tundra, no badlands. Deserts are not in there yet. Mountains, we don't really see. We can see the grasslands, highlands. I think there's some shores in there maybe, maybe not. And then water. We also have a couple of anomalies. These are going to be monoliths and, well, maybe just monoliths. I'm not sure if they are. I don't think they consider this the KerbalNet stations to be anomalies, but these are monoliths all around here. So if we were to go here, it's a squad monolith. There's nothing really that impressive about it. Okay, so what I want to do is, does this also do, I don't think it does both. I think it just does biomes, and I guess we can go look it up on the thing. Anyway, we got our second scan set up there. I'm going to do another network sat or two around the moon before we try and do anything else. What time? That's 11:20. Let's try and send the fuel tanker up to the moon real quick, and then we'll stop the stream. I just want to check on the scan set real quick. If it does both, then we just, let's see. Differentiate types of terrain and biomes. But it doesn't do, no, so I think it's individual. So we need to send up two satellites for, so instead of V2, we'll call this multi, or we'll call it biome scanner. I think that's how you spell biome. Yep, biome. Save it. And then let me just pull this off. Put this on. Need to update the key here for this. Toggle scan radar, yeah. Okay, and save this as alt-tim scanner. Altimetry scanner, I guess. Altitude scanner, however you want to say it, and we'll save that. Alright, so then we got them both on the newer version of this. Let me go ahead and open up the fueler here, and then we'll try and see if we can't get that up to the station and docked. Okay. The main problem with adding more fuel on is that you usually put on more weight, or usually put on an equal amount of weight that displaces that fuel, so you actually end up burning that fuel. And what the hell? Oh, that's right. I saved it as a different version. That is right. I'm going to go version 2 or whatever I called it. Not the first one. Though that works, but we want to try the second version instead. It's only a little bit more on the cost, which is interesting. Only 2K more on the cost. Alright, let's launch this thing and see what happens. Okay, turn on SAS. Probably gonna have to go full throttle. Maybe we're not. Well, we'll see. We got 6 friggin' Kerbadines down there, so let's go half. We'll start at half. Oh yeah, half is more than enough. So this is gonna be the first time trying to dock perpendicularly to something. So this should be interesting. Especially if I hit it, it's gonna go swing it around into me instead of just away from me, so a little more high stakes. I'm already losing those stages anyway, so let's get the thrust going. Nope, that was too much. Too much of a turn. Crap. If you go too far and you try and drop stuff off and you don't rotate to allow them to fall off correctly, that's what happens. Oh well, we didn't get too far up, so that's not too bad. Stability is having a little problem keeping it stable where I want it to. Okay, that wasn't too bad. I thought that was gonna be so much worse. I kind of had it off a little bit. So I have to keep going diagonally. Get this back online with the... Don't want to go too far down there. It's starting to kind of tilt down that way too much. Kind of having to keep knocking it up a bit. It's probably because we're still kind of low. We're going to push that periapsis out pretty fast though, which is what we want to do. We want to try and do this as efficiently as possible, so as much burn as we can get pushing out the periapsis on this stage saves us a lot of pain on the next one. Plus we'll have more fuel once we get up to the moon. The moon station. This should be a little more stable. Although we'll have less thrust, so it'll take a little bit longer now. So the first instinct is to warp up here, but in this case, since we're going so slow on our output for our thrust, you actually just want to burn the whole distance because you're going to need to. You have to get that thing to at least 2,300 to get an orbit around a Kerbal. Or at least to push the periapsis out. Need to do more than that for actual proper orbit. So now we're actually pushing the apoapsis out, which is really good. Not out, but we're pushing it forward. Meaning we've got enough speed on us now that we could probably stop burning and move a little bit closer. Actually, that's because we were above prograde, actually. Still, we got plenty of speed on us. Again, stability is not actually being stable. Stability assist, that is. Now we're going to push it out quite easily. Let's get our stage up here. Oh, that is the last stage. Okay. Yeah, we got plenty of fuel. This is like 10 minutes worth of fuel, I think. We're going to burn about a quarter of that going to the moon, though. If not, a little bit more than a quarter. Alright, periapsis is out. Now we can get it up to about 97. So we can get our orbit set up. It's actually a pretty efficient burn this time. Liftoff, orbit, flight, whatever you want to call it. We didn't burn more than we needed to. Alright, so it'd be really nice to have the moon over here somewhere so I could use the periapsis, but let's have to do just as much. Let's have to do so maybe somewhere around in here. Yep, there it is. Okay. Again, we want to try and go as efficient as possible. No matter which way we go, we're going to probably end up having an orbit to come around this side of the moon, which is good because that'll put us on the correct orbital path to intercept the station. So, as little as needed as possible because we're trying to conserve fuel. It's still almost 4-minute burn, no matter what we're doing. It's kind of crazy that that's like only 1 second worth of burn at that stage. Might as well try and go with a little bit longer of a path to our entry so we can have a little bit of time to burn it in. It's going to take a little bit longer with this rocket. Okay, let's go over to the maneuver node. Let's turn on the RCS so we can get over there. $1,500 monopropellant. Alright, we've got one of those tanks on it. Monopropellant tanks. Alright, so there's the node. That's kind of interesting. It's on the... Well, it's on the retrograde marker. It's kind of strange. Well, we'll see what happens. Oh, it's shifting around. That's why. Right. It's shifting around to prograde. It was on retrograde. Just down there by retrograde because that's where we were. The bottom of our orbit. Okay, that makes more sense. And time for a long frigging burn. 3 minutes 40 seconds. Still better than what it was before. It's usually about 4 minutes and something like 20-25 seconds. So we did manage to shave a little bit off with the more efficient liftoff. Still gonna be a while. Wish we could time scale while burning on maneuvers. Or have it be like when you say warp 2, have the ability to warp to a specific point during a burn or something, time-wise. I guess it's better this way. It's just on these longer ones it gets kind of boring. It's when you pull out your phone to find a game to play. About halfway. A little, almost. Well, I guess you call it about half. Maybe 55%. Once you start getting down lower, like in the 25% range, it starts speeding up a lot. Mainly because your speed is up enough that it's able to, because you're close to the speed you need to break out of Kerbin's orbit, out of your orbit around Kerbin. Where are we? Still got another 280 ms to go. 50 seconds. So we're sitting at about 70% of our fuel left right now. So that's not too bad. We're going to probably go down to about half by the time we get the orbit around the moon set up. Not including the inclination burn and the maneuvering rendezvous burn either. With all that said and done, we'll probably be down to about 40, maybe 35. Which is better than the 20-ish that I normally get. Alright, time to start slowing down our burn here. A little bit early, but I like to start a little bit earlier. So I'm not scrambling to... Holy crap. Okay, yeah. Our burn went a little bit too far there. It's definitely not the same thing that was supposed to be here. I think we took a little bit too long to burn it, so it changed while we were going. So what I do is I want to burn prograde and bring this back in a bit. So that's just a little bit too crazy. Alright, we'll see what happens with that. That's the other thing with burns is that when you have a really slow burn, you actually have to start earlier in the before you get to the actual maneuver point, so you don't have that kind of situation. I haven't figured out the proper ratio. But usually if it's like a minute or two, 10 seconds before is fine. So maybe 20 seconds if it's over 2 minutes. What does this do? Okay, still going the right way though. Good. I was worried about that. Swing back over to retro. We're already almost there, so that's good. We're going to have a lot of burning though to get this into a lower orbit than where we're going to end up with. So pretty high up. So we might end up with maybe 25% of our fuel left by the time we're done. We'll have to see. Well, maybe not. I don't know. Usually burning around the moon isn't so bad. Has a lower gravity, so it's easier to do stuff. What I don't want to do is I don't want to get this too low right now. I'm going to close the apoapsis, close this orbit while we're near the PE node so this doesn't come in too far. Again, it's all about keeping things a little bit efficient. I mean, you could do it, it's fine, it's just that you'd have a lot to burn off the AP node. So you'd spend more fuel and time doing that. Whereas if you just come down to the PE node and then close the orbit there, it's a little bit better, or a lot better. Depending how lead-footed you are on the accelerator. So what is this set at? Oh wow, damn, 2.1 km. Actually, it's 2.1 million meters. It's not really km. Alright, no, I guess that's right. 2,155 km would be 2,155 million meters. 1,000 km is a million. Or 1,000... Yeah, 1,000 is a million. So I'm going to try and do this as efficiently as possible. I'm going to try and keep really close to the PE node. So I'm going to do a lot of mini burns to bring this in to, that's the moon station, right? Yeah, to, I think it's 130 periapsis and like 200 apo or something. Somewhere just closer though. We need to be a lot closer on the apoapsis than that. We need to burn in the periapsis so we can bring the apoapsis in efficiently. So I'm just going to burn this into probably around 180. Close enough. And we'll do the same for apoapsis. Then we'll set up our inclination. Oops, wrong one. We were on prograde. Or should I say it drifted to prograde. We were set for retrograde. Yeah, we need to have some more reaction wheels or something. Or a bigger one or something, I don't know. It's just not enough to turn this thing around efficiently, quickly. Don't like using RCS for it because it modifies your orbit sometimes and it's using up the fuel we need for docking, so. Warp right next to the PE node this time, so it doesn't turn quite so much to start with. I had to get that a little bit closer to 200, maybe 220. Yeah, we'll go with 220. Alright, let's go ahead and get the station as our target, and we shall do the inclination burn. If I can get off of the moon station's orbital line. Alright, so normal. Yeah, normal will do. Very nicely. So what's that put us at? -2. Okay, so I'm going to go the other way. -3, -3, okay, so we don't have it in quite the right spot. There we go, 0. Alright, so then let's go and swing over to the maneuver node, and then we'll warp closer to it and do the burn. And set up our intercepts. "38-second burn." Alright. Yeah, we're gonna have about half our fuel left. Well, we still have to do the, still have to pull in, the, nodes a bit more. It's probably worse to start early, because when you stop when you get closer to 10 ms, you got most of the burn done. That's pretty good. We're at, oh, no, damn, we're at -4. I thought it showed 0. Let me see, let's burn anti-normal a little bit. So I think we went too low on this side. I mean, it's not such a bad, it's not so bad, but it makes it so much easier if you're spot on 0. Okay, that's not the right direction. We're going more negative. I'm gonna go the other way. I guess, did we burn normal or anti-normal? I thought we burnt normal. Guess we burned anti-normal. Or no, we didn't go far enough normal. That was the problem. Come on, damn it. We're just not in the right spot to get it down far enough yet. We got some work to do on the AP node. That thing is so messed up. Well, this started out okay. Not so much on this one. Not so much up here, though. It's usually what happens if you have a really good liftoff somewhere else during your flight, you're going to have some major problems. It's just how it usually goes. On the other hand, if you have a really screwed up flight, sometimes everything else goes perfectly. It's the inverse squared rule of Murphy's Law. When something goes wrong, other things will go right. So yeah, we just need like a 0.4 second burst, it's like instant, it's like barely have to even tap it. When we bring in the AP node, we might end up changing it, the inclination a bit too, so I'll probably have to do another inclination burn eventually. Not looking forward to that. Are we warping? No, we aren't. I was like, we aren't going any faster. Okay, now we're on a perfect 0. Alright, we got work to do. First things first. Let's spin around to the PE node. We gotta bring in the apoapsis node. So it is way the hell out there. Well, it's not that far out there, but it's way... Wow. Oh, I was looking at this, not... I was gonna say, I'm way by that periapsis node. Looking at the wrong satellite. Alright. Hopefully it doesn't change. Usually it doesn't. Sometimes it does, though. Alright. Let's go ahead and bring that all the way in. We'll make that our... well, it's going to spin around to the P, I guess. Alright, let's go and set up a node somewhere. Start moving it around, see where we can get our intersect point at. Intersect 2. A little bit more than that. Or no, pro. A little less than that. Some of the annoying things when you're dealing with this is that it's really touchy. Usually around 5 to 7 km is where I like to do it from. Okay, that'll be perfect. That will work in 1 hour. So once we do this, it'll be on the next orbit around. Okay, let's go to warp over there. What was that, 4-second burn? Okay, got 40 seconds still to go. Let's go about half of that. Kick the RCS on so we can get over there. Crap. We can fix this. Actually, yeah, that works. That'll work. Alright, so let's go point retro. Well, it doesn't matter, we'll move around a bit, so let's just warp to like right about here. Should be far enough out that we don't have to worry about slowing down just yet. What are we at? Oh, we are kind of at that point. Never mind. Well, that's fine. When we start slowing down, you really need to get to 0 right in here somewhere, so it's not really that big a deal. We're going to have a little bit of distance to travel across, though. Well, this kind of didn't work as well as I thought it would. Might have been going a little bit too fast. Anyway, we can still catch up to it. Yeah, I don't know what happened with that. That was kind of weird. Kind of it had us invert our thing for nothing. I probably should have waited to go down until we're a little bit closer. Whatever. We'll figure it out here. I still got plenty of fuel. Well, we need to try and, you know, send as much of that over to the station as possible, but what can you do when weird things happen? So I need to speed up a little bit because we're really far away from it right now. We're burning way too much fuel. Still, this will be a good practice run, so. So by the time I reach here, I want to be at 0. That's essentially how we want to do it. We'll have to burn a lot of distance to get to it, but okay, that's not going to happen. So we'll try and do this manually here. Screw the maneuver burns and the intercepts and whatnot. Just gonna manually eyeball it. So basically, when we get to about 5K, I want to just take my speed down to 0. It's a good time to start burning the rest down. Now this is probably close enough. Let's go ahead and take us down to 0. If we have to burn our way over there, that's fine. Alright, switch over to vessel view. There's our target, so let's go ahead and finish off our momentum here. Man, we spent so much fuel getting up here. There's hardly any left to put on the station. It's these. There's just too much weight. We added on an extra, basically an extra quarter of a ship or something. Alright, that's good enough. Let's go ahead and point towards the target. And we're gonna start burning over to there. It's too far to go for the RCS thrusters to speed us up and slow us down. So we're gonna go up to about 80 ms, and then when we get about 2,000 kilometers to it, okay, 100, that'll be fine. Once we get about 2K in, we'll burn retro back down to 0. And use RCS all the way for the rest of it. Okay, so we got the dock with a side port. Snow, nice nose-to-nose bumping. Now we're going in the side door. Oh, I did not see we're under 2. Okay, I gotta burn that down quickly. That'll work. Let's turn back to target. So I want to get in kind of close, and then because I want to be able to target one of the ports on the side. We have to be pretty close for that. So some of our momentum's going from this direction. Come on, slow us down. Alright, that's kind of good. So I think this is some of the, there we go, I can select them now. So let's do the one closest to the top here. So that's our target now. We want to control from this docking port. And let's go ahead and bring this up. Okay, so yippee-ki-yay. Let's see if we can do this. I'm going to slow down first of all, as far as I can. So the first thing I need to do is we need to orient ourselves to the side of the ship here. That's what I want. I want to go up instead of down now. Ah. Alright, let's go ahead and close in a bit and see exactly where we're at. We got it fairly close to where we want it. We won't really be able to tell until we get in a little bit closer. And we're still off a little bit somewhere. We're coming in like this. We need to be coming in a little more like this. Oops. This thing's still, it's kind of tilted too. Feels like the I'm going to get in a bit closer. Just so I can more properly orient to the ports together. I wouldn't mind actually going backwards a little bit with this while we're trying to orient this. They're still a little bit off. We need to... It's at a very strange angle. Let me get a little bit closer. And you can see exactly how far off we are. I still can't tell from this far away. I'll make sure I don't get too close, because then the ports will attract each other, but... Who knows, I might actually be right on it or something. It doesn't look like I am, though. Looks like I'm coming in a little bit too steep somewhere. Okay, I see now. We're kind of drifting off the side. I don't want to go that far back that fast. Okay, so what I need to do is I need to go the other way. Nope, not that way. It still looks completely wrong. Like from this angle here, you can kind of see it. Oh, you can really see it here. We're like coming in like this. We need to be coming in like this. We need to swing our back down. Okay, let's see what this does. It looks like I'm coming at a really weird angle. Ah! Well, it didn't send it craning off into me, at least. So that's definitely not gonna... not gonna be good. Alright, well, I'm just gonna let these do what they're gonna do. I will try this again tomorrow off stream and see if I can get it. So, thanks for watching the streams. If you watched them live on Twitch or YouTube, I actually may just try and bring up the old version of this. Change the docking port and try and bring that one up instead. Let's see what happens. But, yeah, again, thanks for watching. If you watched it live on Twitch or YouTube, if you're watching it on YouTube afterwards, comments or questions, leave them below. And if you haven't done so already, I'd appreciate it. Subscribe to the channel. And I will see you next time, which will... I'm not sure when I'll stream this next. I think the next streaming I'll do will be probably tomorrow for some Odyssean Void development. So make sure this thing's gonna like careen back into me. Well, when we're not in the game, it's not gonna do anything, so that's fine. So yeah, probably around, I'd say 11:30 or 12 tomorrow, I'm gonna start streaming for Odyssean Void. I'll do some work in Unreal, and I'm also gonna do some work in FL Studio too. We'll see about starting up a new track or something. Haven't done anything in FL Studio for quite a while, so it should be interesting to get back into it. See what we can do. I want to make something for just a regular battle kind of track, so we'll see what we can scare up with that. Let me go ahead and save. A quick save. So I'm just going to close out KSP the fast way. So usually whenever I try and go back to the main menu, it always hangs and freezes like it is now and crashes. So we'll just make that happen a bit faster.